AV4-1 is all the vocabulary that we'll be using this unit. So our first vocabulary word that you should already know is cylinder. And when we're looking at a cylinder, my axis will be the line segment that connects the centers of the bases. We often refer to this as the height, but the height isn't the same thing as the axis if it's oblique. So if I had a cylinder that's like this, that's still my axis, but now my height is out here. If it's a right cylinder, then yes, my axis and my height are the same. My radius then will go from the center of the base to the edge of the base. Because think my base is a circle, same as in a circle, our radius goes from the middle of the circle to the edge, same thing in a cylinder. I touched on this a little bit, but my right cylinder is when the axis of the cylinder is perpendicular to the bases, and we're going to use that axis as the height. This is your normal run-of-the-mill cylinder. It's your soup can, it's your can of pop, it's your can of tennis balls, it's any like typical average cylinder, what you think of when I ask you to draw a cylinder. An oblique cylinder then, your axis of the cylinder is not perpendicular to the bases, so you cannot use the axis as the height. You might have a picture like this where your cylinder is kind of shoved over and your height will be marked perpendicular outside. That's the height that you use, even if they give us that axis length. A cone then is a solid composed of a circle, that's our base, a given point not on the plane of the circle, that's our vertex, and all the segments from that point to the circle, the rest of our cone. So we have our circular base, we have our vertex, and then everything else in between. Just like with a cylinder, the line connecting the vertex to the base is perpendicular in the right cone, and we can use it as the altitude or height. If it's oblique, it's kind of like that cone got smushed over. The base is not perpendicular to the line connecting the vertex to the base, so we cannot use that line as the altitude. Again, you'll have another line going out that's marked perpendicular and is labeled as the height. That's what we use. A sphere is a set of all points in space at a given distance or radius from a given point or center. So it's kind of like a 3D circle, right? The circle is equidistant in 2 dimensions. A sphere is equidistant in 3 dimensions. This is your ball, your scoop of ice cream, what have you. A hemisphere is if I cut that right in half. And the important vocab here I want you to know here is the great circle. A great circle, I mean, sure, all circles are great in their own way, whatever. But really the great circle is just the circle that's on the bottom of that hemisphere. It's the lid of the bowl. It is the bottom of the scoop of mashed potatoes that's been kind of flattened out. It's the circle that's not the like curved 3D part.